Check, check, check. Alright, we're live. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Oh, you can't hear me if I'm turned that far away. Alright, cool. What's up, everybody? How's it going? How are y'all doing? There we go. There's a full view of the map. Alright, so let's see here. Oops, nope, that's not gonna work. Alright, let's see. Check, check. Audio check. Alright, so I have to be nice and close to the mic. So we have another lore stream today. Taking a break from the harsh battles of the Atos and focusing on a little bit of the story. If you are just joining us, we added a new faction, the Zedans, for season 2. So that's fun. What's up, Mithra? How's it going? How are you? It's good to hear, man. Not sure how many people are going to show up today. I didn't announce it anywhere that I was going to be streaming tonight. Just forgot this week. So, might be a pretty light stream. But that's always okay. We don't have any, a whole bunch of interaction necessary for today's stream. At least since it's not a battle stream. let's see, I'll shrink that there. Sorry, I'm just editing my Twitch dashboard. Alright, nobody else seems to be joining, so I'll just go ahead and start it. Let's see here. There we go, that's a better setup. Yes, much better. Alright. So without further ado, a little recap of what has happened recently. The Taeans and Chaharians war in the north, and the Alani and Anŷn battle in the south. The front lines divide the continent in half. So if I have any new viewers, we have the Alani from Malanhul, the Anŷn from Anŷn, the Chaharians from Chahar, and the Taeans from Taea, and their front line is right here. The Taeans and Alani are currently allied, and the Chaharians and Anŷn are also currently allied. So yeah, the front lines divide the continent in half, the major powers of Atos vying for control in the battlefield, hoping to best their opponent and win the war. The smaller powers around the Big Four look on in confusion, worrying about what will actually happen next. Some see it as an opportunity to capitalize on war. Some see it as the end of the world, their big protectors running straight to their death. Yeah. The end may be near for the Big Four, but a new beginning is arising for those willing to seize the crown. Welcome to Season 2. I need some music. Hold up. What kind of music are we feeling today, guys? Here's a good one. We'll do this for now. Alright, audio check. That sounds good. Let me know if the music is too loud and I'll turn it down. Alright, we have 1 viewer on Twitch, none on Instagram, and 3 on YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're having a great evening so far. Awesome. Glad it sounds good. Good to see you, Richard. How are you? Alright. I should probably sit on my map as per the tradition of all of my map videos. Little glimpse behind the scenes, guys. Every single video you see of me drawing the map, you can pretty much assume that I am sitting on the map. Fun little tidbit for you there. And if I'm not sitting on the map, then whatever I'm drawing is at the way bottom of it. So, this map is pretty much a rug. Yo, that would actually be pretty cool. A map rug. That seems like something I would definitely do. Alright. So, today we are focusing on the Zedans because Season 2, new faction. That seems a little bit loud, hold up. Check, check. Yeah, that is definitely very loud. Okay, we'll try that. The highs are very high and the lows are very low, so that's annoying, but that's okay. So anyways, we're going to be focusing on the Zedans who are up there today. Should I zoom in on the Zedans up there? I could zoom in on them a little bit. Yeah, I'll zoom in. We'll do Zeda and Taea because technically Zeda is controlled by Taea, so. This map is so wrinkled. I don't know why. Alright. So a little bit about the Zedans. Zeda is inhabited by two main groups, the oceanic dryads and the humans. The humans are originally from Taea. Long ago, some of the Taeans sailed across the strait between the Taean Peninsula and the Zedan Islands. Pardon me. And they settled on the Zedan Islands. They began to build a few settlements. The first of the settlements was Denisa, and Denisa was just a small little town for most of its existence. And the other group, and probably what defined the Zedans standing out from the rest, are the oceanic dryads. Now, dryads are spiritual creatures, spiritual beings, who take on the form of a one of the elements. There are, let me read them off to you. Now, this is a big part of the Aetosian lore, so this is a big drop for you guys. So there are 9 elements called the Una. There's the Aether, which is space, existence, and being. Terra, which is earth, rocks, and ore. Amnis is water. Veda is life, souls, green, growing things. Electra is electricity, force, and movement. Ignis is fire and heat. Nixa is ice and cold. Ventus is air, life, and wind, so that kind of ties in with Veda. And Avum is time. So, a little bit of an unnecessary lore drop, but nonetheless fun for all of you nerds out there, myself included. But anyways, the oceanic dryads take the form of Amnis and normally walk around in a humanoid form. They can also shapeshift into any form you could ever imagine. They're water, so they're very, very malleable to however their mind wants. And again, they're spiritual, so that has no effect on them. The oceanic dryads kind of wield water, and they, over the years of growing next to the Taean settlers, they joined hands together and gave the Taeans their powers. More like they lent the Taeans their powers and let them. What is the word I'm looking for? Essentially, they just helped the settlers settle Zeda. Zeda was their home for much longer than the Taeans. But the Zedan dryads were very kind beings, very welcoming beings. But they also were bound in a way to Zeda, and they really liked just staying within their islands. So today, to this day, you can really only find the oceanic dryads in the lands of Zeda. A few other places, but mostly in just Zeda. Now, why would anybody want to go to the islands of Zeda? It was actually a land filled with massive groves of healthy trees, and mines of ores such as gold and coal. And so those were the three biggest things pulling the Taeans to Zeda, especially in their advancements as they became more civilized and more advanced. Well, now, I would like some feedback. If this sounds boring, let me know, and I will, next stream, try to make it a little bit more interesting, as much as I can. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But, so yeah, Zeda fed the wealthy economy of Taelar, giving them much more gold and coal, as well as much wood as they could ever dream of having. Yet Zeda remained relatively small. I mean, to this day, it is one of the smallest settlements across the lands of Atos. And their largest cities were like villages compared to those of mainland Taelar. Denisa is a tiny city compared to Bayar and Port Dwarth, and I mean, can you even see Port Dwarth? Yeah, you can see Port Dwarth right there at the tip. Oh wait, no, you can't even see my hands. I've been moving my hands all over. Maybe you can. I don't know. Hi. Anyways, so yeah, Denisa is small comparatively. Did you miss anything? Nope, we're just going over the lore of Zeda. The Zedans, just so you know, are dryads, oceanic dryads, and humans. And the oceanic dryads partnered with the humans while settling Zeda. That is the quick summary for you. And you can come back and watch it about 21 minutes in. 20-ish minutes in. So the small size of Zeda often led to the mainland Taeans forgetting about the Zedans completely, except when the Zedans had more resources to offer. Whenever there was more gold, coal, or wood, that is when the Taeans gave them more thought. Gave them, thought. But even then, the poor Zedan settlers and pioneers were kind of just an afterthought for the Taeans. They were just a way to get the gold and coal and wood. Dryads sounds fishy. I don't know if that's like a play on words. I'm actually real talk though, I'm very excited about the Zedans. If I were to pick any of the lands to be be in their faction, I would definitely choose Zeda. It's just, I like their vibe for some reason. I don't know. But I would like to say I'm making every faction as balanced as I can so that so that it's fun and enjoyable for everybody, no matter if you're a small Zedan settler or a massive Anŷn warrior. Anyways, back to the history and lore. And so that essentially brings us up to almost modern day. As I said before, I'll zoom it out a little bit. As I said before, the Taeans, Chaharians, Alani, and Anŷn are fighting their big war. If you're new here, you can go check out the video on my YouTube channel describing the events in a playful way. And I personally hope it is very informative on what is happening in the lore. It was pretty much a recap for season 1. So you can go watch that and get yourself caught up on what the happenings are right now if you are a little bit lost. I think that the lore is good. Lore that you make may be boring or important and really cool. Both make the world feel alive, and the only thing I thought about it was it didn't seem that important. Yeah, that's understandable. You make some good points, but I try just a little teaser for you guys. Anything I try to include in my world does normally have an effect on the greater story. So, the Great War, everybody is hearing about it. The surrounding countries around the big four, essentially empires of Atos, big four kingdoms and empires, are hearing about it, wondering and planning for what could happen, and that is definitely not. Wait, no, what's the saying? And that is definitely something that applies to the Zedans as well. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see Zeda and Taea? Do you want to see the whole continent? Let me know. Yeah, I saw it. No worries. Oh, didn't seem that important to Taea as a whole, but including them in the war is a good way to make them have more influence. Okay, yes. I get you. I thought it was 2 separate messages, my bad. It's kind of weird that a comment can run out of space for a live stream. In my opinion, that seems a little bit dumb, but whatever. Alright, so the Zedans have definitely heard of the war, and because their protecting country, their country, Taea as a whole, is a part of it, and so they have heard of it through the traders coming to get the gold and such. And so the governor of Zeda has in fact ordered a higher quota over the Zedans, forcing their workers to work more in the mines, forcing them to chop down more trees, because the Taean war machine is running low. The Chaharian attacks have been draining on the Taean homeland, And so the Taeans have doubled down on gold for spending, coal for their fires, for forging rifles, and wood for their wagons, carts, and rifles as well. Have they heard of the mythical King Alaric IV? No. Knight Alaric. Knight Alaric is pretty much just a Alani legend. The Alani have recently kept their legends pretty closed in within their borders. There was a downfall of the Alani Empire ages ago, in fact, and they have never really recovered. So the Alani have kind of become more isolationist, mostly focusing on themselves, but obviously feeding the Taeans metals and defending themselves against the Chaharians and Anŷn. As a cartographer with world-building disease, I enjoy listening to other world builders. That is fair. That is very fair. Mithril is unsending all of his comments. All right. So the governor has raised the quotas in Zeda, and the mayor of Zeda has heard the complaints of his workers. His workers are being pushed beyond their limits. They could barely meet the quotas of the hungry Taeans already. They don't have enough workers, and they aren't getting paid enough for the work that they're doing. And so the Zedans are rightfully upset about the new quotas. And the mayor has been striving to come to a new answer for them. I need water. Even the mayor himself has been working in the mines almost tirelessly, trying to help his fellow Zedans. I should have written down what the rough population of Zeda is, but it really is too small to feed the massive population of Taelar and Anlan, because the Taeans even are selling their resources to the Alani for their help as well. And so the Zedan Islands, tiny islands, mind you, are trying to feed the massive might of Taelar and Alanhul, and as you can imagine, none of the Zedans are happy about that. The mayor met with the governor of Zeda many times, discussing with him the unfortunate situation of the Zedans, and hoping that the governor might be able to do something about it. But the governor passively gave his condolences to the Zedans, brushing them off and returning to the capital city of Bayar in Taelar to hide away from the war, to stay safe, and to count his riches, while the mayor and the Zedan people strive in the mines and the forests. And so the the workforce slowly begins sending in more and more complaints to the mayor, telling him that it needs to be fixed, or the Zedans will simply stop working. But the threat of... Oh, I should change the music. But the threat of... is this the right one? But the threat of Taea still impends over them. We'll go this music now. I don't know why I chose that moment to interrupt the stream and be like, yo, let's change the music. But, I mean, you know, that's live streaming with Ethan for you if you're curious what that's like. Anyways, so the threat of Taea is still impending on the horizon. Because who knows what the Taeans would do. To the Zedans, the Taeans seem tyrannical. Forgetful about them, forgetful that they are Taeans themselves. Yet the Zedans seem to be drifting away from the Taeans, making their own name for themselves, identifying with the Zedan title more than the Taeans. And in fact, the Zedans call themselves the Zedans more than they call themselves a Taean. This is not the right music. This sounds too sad. I need to change it. Yo, what's up, Nox? How's it going? Music. Where's my music? There it is. What kind of music would fit this? I think we need... Okay, I'm gonna stop the music. Music, stop. I need to hear the new music. Oh, that's loud. Yeah, I make maps as well. All of this lore is based off of a map that I'm currently drawing. I'm doing it for the next 365 days. I'm currently on day 93, so that's pretty cool. And so yeah, the lore is based on this map. So it's a map in progress and lore in progress. It's kind of an interactive lore where you can join one of the 5 factions and try and influence the story. So it's a really fun project. I'm really happy to be doing it with you guys. This one seems good. We'll go this one. Let me know if I should change the music again if it doesn't seem like it fits the vibe. Oh, that is way too loud. My apologies, guys. I didn't mean to make it that loud. $93 days? Yeah. 3 months. I mean, it doesn't feel like that long. Oh yeah, the Cat Island. I forgot about the Cat Island. The Cat Island is not on this map. It is on a map from, I think it was last year. Yeah, geez. That map went by really quick. Yeah, I finished that map about last year. That was a really fun map. I don't know what to do with it. I have it under my bed right now. I need to take it up and hang it up somewhere. It's a big map. I don't know what I'm going to do with this map. It's way too massive. It's a 43 by 50 map, I think. So, but I love drawing big maps. They're so much fun. They're so cool to look at. Technically, it's been more than 93 days. I will say that, because I'm not doing it on the weekends, so it's only on the weekdays. I think I started it back in like maybe mid-April, late April, something like that. So it's been many more months than actually 3, but I've been drawing every day for the past 3 months worth of drawing. Where was I? Oh yeah, the Zedans, I am not thinking of words right now. I don't know why. The big words that I want to use are not coming to mind. The Zedans are Zedans, not Tans, yeah. So, after many weeks of trying to reach out to the governor and the king, only to hear nothing in return, the mayor sets up a meeting with his closest advisors, friends, the leaders of the lumberjacks and the miners. It's maybe 7 men in total. And they sit around a tavern, talking in hushed tones, knowing that nobody would snitch on them to the king, because nobody in Zeda cared about the Taeans, and no Taean would step foot in Zeda. And so the meeting begun with the 7 men around the table, discussing what they would do. The mayor put forth the situation, describing the governor and how he had acted towards the Zedan pleas for more pay, at least, and asked for more workers, but he had heard nothing. And the master worker, what would they be called? The workmasters? Maybe? No, that doesn't sound right. What would somebody be called who's like, so are the children also working in the mine? I would assume that, I don't know, maybe I would say probably some children are, because the Zedans are so poor that they need to support their family members. So probably there are some children working in the mines. Anyways, the work bosses, put forth their current completion of the quotas, falling behind almost falling behind by a third. They had completed 2/3 of the quota, and they only had a few days left on that quota. The men were tired, they were exhausted. Some of the men were dying, some were passing out from exhaustion, and some were refusing to go to work. Some were starving to death. The mayor suggested that maybe they ride it out just a few more weeks. Maybe the war would end soon, and that the quotas would once again drop to where the Zedans could try to keep up with them, and at least succeed just a little bit. A mine master, yeah, and a jack master. We'll call him a jack master and a mine master. But almost unanimously, the Zedans disagreed with the mayor. Even the mayor himself doubting that would actually work. Seeing as though nobody would come to the Zedan help, and nobody would really listen to them. In fact, after the war, the quotas, the Taeans, seeing that the quotas were bringing in so much more wealth, the quotas probably, likely, would not be lowered. And so one of the mayor's closest friends, I need to make a name for the mayor. His name will be... Guys, let's name the mayor. What are we wanting to name the mayor of Zeda? Greg? That is so sad. Nuh-uh. That's such a not mayor of Zeda name for me, in my opinion. Knight Ulrich the Fourth in disguise. This Knight Ulrich, bro. He is the meme of Atos right now. I don't think Knight Ulrich would fit in with the Zedans. What about... So I'm thinking kind of like a more... This is kind of the vibe that I'm going for Zeda. It's kind of more of like an islandy Hawaiian vibe. Or no, probably more like a New Zealand. Yeah, I think the Zedan Islands are probably like a more New Zealand, where you have like that Polynesian influence, but then you also have Carl. But then you also have more of like a newer English kind of influence. So he could have more of like a Polynesian kind of style name. He could be, if we went that direction, we could do something like IMEA, EMEA. But then maybe he has more of like a Taean inspired name, where it's maybe like... See, I made Taean and didn't really have a language of inspiration, so I'm just kind of making up everything as I go. Because I have Tamisake, and then we have the Kurian Ridge, and Bayar and Tehran. So the names are kind of just all over the place, and I kind of regret that. Maybe I will just go Mayor Maya for now. I can always rename him later, of course. So, anyways, Mayor Imea, the closest friend of Mayor Imea, reminded the mayor that almost 2 years ago they had sent the king a letter asking for either a larger workforce or a larger sum of money for the raised wages of the workers. And The only thing that they got in return was a letter saying that the king of Taea would take that into consideration in his next advisorial meeting. Whatever. You know what I mean. But after that, they didn't hear anything back. And so the Zedans decided to forge one final letter to the king of Taea. Should have written down the letter. That would have been a good idea. The letter went something along the lines of stating the state of the Zedans, telling the king that they could not keep up with the quotas, and that they would not keep up with the quotas no matter what, offering a ultimatum. The ultimatum was this: the Zedans would leave the Taean Union, the Taean Kingdom, and forge for themselves their own kingdom under their own rule, cutting off all Taean trade with themselves, eliminating any Taean influence on Zeda, removing the governor from his position, removing any Taean soldiers, sending them back over the seas to the mainland, unless the wages were doubled and the workforce was almost tripled. That was the ultimatum of the mayor, of the letter of Zeda. This letter became known throughout the Taean Kingdom as the Zedan address to Bayar, ordering, essentially forcing the king's hand either to lose something. And so the men in that room sent a copy of the letter. They kept the original letter. They sent a copy to Bayar. They also sent copies to Telachan, the capital of Alani, Sukra, the capital of Chahar, and Lena Desapil, the capital of Anŷn, making known their plight to the world, and essentially undermining the Taeans to make a decision and respond to them, or else someone else would react. So with that, the Zedans, Mayor Imea, organized a meeting in the town square. He sent out invitations, summons, and orders over the entire islands of Zeda to every village, every town, every mining outpost, calling essentially every single Zedan out of their work to come to the capital of Danesa to hear the announcement of the mayor. And so that is the end of what I have for tonight. I don't have anything else, I believe. So yeah, where we are now, I should actually zoom out my map so that you can guys get a good little look about Atos before I leave. there we go. There's a good little glimpse of Atos. And so, now we wait. We wait to see how the Alani, how the Taeans, Chaharians, and the Anŷn will respond to the Zedan ultimatum. Will the Chaharians and Anŷn step in, take control of Zeda, and offer them higher wages and more workers? Will the Taeans offer more workers and higher wages? Or will the Zedans go off alone, forget about the rest of the world, and become rich over the vast gold mines and coal mines? That is what we shall see in the coming days, the coming weeks and months, and coming live streams. There will be a live stream next Friday. There should be, hopefully. If everything goes according to plan, there will be a live stream next Friday, same time as always. If you would like to stay updated on the weekly episodes, stay tuned for, daily episodes. There are daily episodes between the streams. First one will be on Monday, depicting the goings-on between now and next stream. I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful night, a wonderful, enjoyable, relaxing weekend, and I hope to see you all next Friday. Have a great evening. Peace.